Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. Thanks yourself.
Not too bad.
Good. Welcome to the stream, and thank you so much for submitting your game.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
All right. So is there anything else that I should know about the game before getting started?
I don't know. This is probably going to be quite hard for you to play
Yep.
um,
Yep. Yep.
while
Yep.
you
Yep.
talk.
I
Um,
just realized this is a like a keep talking nobody explodes kind of game, huh?
yeah, very much. So I don't know. I would probably recommend people in chat play the game along almost instead of you. I mean, I think you should take breaks between.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
There
in
is
that,
no like time limit. Like you can't fail, so
mhm.
you don't have too much to worry about. But
Okay. Yes, thank you for the feedback. I have been tweaking the volume knob, so hopefully that the levels are a bit better. Let's bump that up a tiny bit more. And how about this? Maybe we play around where you, as the developer, act as the manual because you wrote this, you know all this. And people can get a small sense of what the gameplay is like, and that way I can um, show off a bit of what it's like, and then I'll stop cheating and we'll just go ahead with a regular interview.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so just so people can get a sense of what the game is like, um, I wish I had somebody else I could play this with, but nice. You've even got a full-on uh, menu built into the game and a colorblind mode. That's very considerate.
Yeah, because like the whole game is based around color matching, and so I realized I had put it through a color like a colorblind filter just to check, and I realized that it would definitely not work for people that are colorblind. So I mean, you can take a look at the mode in the game. You can access the settings by pressing escape. It just
Okay.
kind of lists like types out the color.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's turn that on and see what it's like to have. Okay, and it's just the words printed underneath.
Yeah,
Okay. So in this particular case, red, red. I don't know. I see red, red at the top here. I don't think I did it right. Read the
yeah.
manual.
So
Yeah.
you got the two red lights there.
Yeah.
So there's two lights turned on. So you want to set the blue switch to on.
Okay. Wow. So it really is like a keep talking, nobody explodes type situation.
Yeah, very much.
Okay. So
Um, is there a yellow light in slot 2?
I guess that would be the one underneath. Oh, no. I see the second slot is red. So no.
No. So there's two red lights. There's not only one red light, so there's two
Yeah.
red lights, which means you'll need to press the red button.
Okay. There we go. That cleared it. Okay, so now I've got station one, two lights, neither of which are active. Wait, the second one, the second light turned on and it's yellow.
Okay, so there's only one light turned on, so you're
Yeah.
going to want to set the red switch to off.
Okay,
And so then there's a yellow in slot 2,
that's right.
so you're going to need to press the green button.
Okay, there we go. So did you design this as a game that was meant to be played with two people in accordance with the original Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes?
I had kind of designed it to be more of a single player experience, like kind of a single player version of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. So I really tried to keep the manual very readable, like as someone that's playing the game. Um, and I mean, I
So,
had done playtesting through the thing to try to get like really get my communication across for the manual because I thought that was really important.
right. So in that regard, like, is there a time limit or not?
No, so there's like the alarm blaring. I guess you can hear that,
Yeah.
and I speed that up over time just to give a sense of there being a time pressure. But I didn't want to like make the player lose any progress in it for the game jam because people have
Hmm.
like already a pretty low small attention span. And so I feel
Right.
like because it's not randomly generated or anything, like I've built all these levels. Like if you lose progress, it's just not. I don't think it's very fun. So I just kind of wanted to keep it as more of a puzzle game than a like whatever genre you would call. Keep talking, nobody
Okay.
explodes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think literally just by removing the time limit, it totally works as a thing you can go through by yourself. But I don't know, have you considered turning it into more of a keep talking nobody explodes experience by like adding a timer to it
Yeah,
outside of the scope of the jam?
I would have like I probably would have wanted to try like randomly generating the codes and the button layouts and all that stuff. Um, I didn't have time to do that in the jam,
Hmm.
especially since like there's so many conditions for the like things that the lights cannot be. So I had to go in and make them all manually. But I made the system quite modular, so it was really easy to set up the conditions and the lights and all that stuff.
Okay, so in theory, anyone who plays this is going to see the same sequence. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So then all the more reason that I'm not going to play any more of the game. I'll just kind of leave it looping on this GIF while we have the rest of the interview. So yeah, all the more reason that everyone should go ahead and check the game out themselves. I've just dropped a link in the chat there. And yeah, we're just going to be looking at this nice little picture while we continue talking here. Um, so was that was a just based on like a time constraint, right? Like in your ideal version of this game, you would have everything generated randomly each time.
yeah, and kind of I mean I kind of designed it in like a small scale. Like I don't think this gameplay could be enough to go on for much longer than the time I put in. I would have to put some sort of like additional ways to mix up the gameplay.
Hmm.
Um, like even when I had play tested this and whatever, like I had debated, I had time, I had like an extra 3 hours at the end where I could have made more levels, um, but I kind of decided to just leave it as it is and not make it overstay its welcome, especially because I the kind of feedback I got was that by the time you get to the end, you've really experienced most of what the game has to offer, and it doesn't really. There's not too much more reason to keep playing that after that point.
Yeah, of course. I think better to be like short and sweet than have the project have the game feel like it's got any kind of bloat to it. So I think it's absolutely the right call. So how did you actually go about constructing some of the like the logic underlying the way that all of this works? Was it like flowcharts?
Um, Kind of not really. I had basically gone in, so it started as a Word document and Excel document tracking, basically making sure every like button and whatever every like variation, every color had like one or two possibilities that can change it.
Hmm.
Um, and so then I had built my kind of condition system in Unity to just like work based off of like taking a whole bunch of different game objects. And so it's basically each condition is a different game object with a script attached. And then you can set all the parameters for that. Like if there's a red light, if it's blinking, if it's in slot one, whatever.
Hmm.
And then check for this, right? It could be all switches, one switch, whatever like that. And so I really could like go in and just redo all of the conditions quite easily. Um, and so I found that really easy to kind of go through and set up the conditions first and then build all the levels as well. Because it goes through and it checks for the tags of
Hmm.
all of the buttons and stuff, and it checks for the color of it and its state. Um, and so basically, all I have to do is activate and deactivate like different game objects, basically the levels, and it'll
Hmm.
automatically check if everything is like what state everything is in.
Right. Yeah, it's really interesting to see what the workflow of other Unity developers is because I try not to rely on the tag system if I can help it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I am definitely not like a uh, like I don't come from a specifically programming background. I'm very much a game design background. I'm currently in school for game design, so
nice.
I've kind of learned to code in order to make games.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah, I'm very much the same.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I probably don't do things in the most optimized way all the time, but
Yeah,
I
but it
get them
doesn't
to
matter
work.
because it
I guess so.
runs.
Yeah,
And
exactly. In a game
if
like this, like it's not gonna ruin FPS, so I didn't really
not at
care.
all. Exactly. You can run like a find object of type in the update method for all I care as long as the game works. Like you only have to optimize when you specifically run into a hurdle of the game not performing the way that you want it to. For anyone watching, for the love of God, when you've run that find object of type, cache it so you don't keep running it in update. But anyway, for anyone not familiar with Unity specifically, find object of type basically iterates through every single object in the game and just checks, does it have this component? Does it have this component? Does it have this component? And that get component check in itself is also very expensive. So you're basically running a really expensive operation on every single object in the game. And if you put it in update, it's happening basically every frame. So avoid doing that if you can. But yeah, so speaking of which, can you recommend a useful shortcut or a clever hack in the Unity engine that you think would be helpful to others?
Um, I don't know. I guess I would say look into like different libraries you can use for a lot of polish really, really easily, like a
Mm-hmm.
tween library and like a game feel library and stuff like that just make it super, super easy to add polish to a game, especially in such a short time like this.
Yep, absolutely. Very true. Did you use any of those yourself?
Yeah, I use a thing called DoTween Pro.
Yep.
And so that allows me to make all this super smooth UI that people were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those sort of tween systems, and I'm definitely at the point in Unity where I've written a few of my own, but I love the fact that these extensions exist out there for people who just like want to drag and drop the functionality into their project and not have to worry about reinventing the wheel like I always inevitably end up doing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I said, I want to design games more than like just program them. So any like tools like that that can make my life easier, I'm all for.
Absolutely. So what's the reception been like on the game so far?
It's been really, really positive. At the start of the jam, it was around like eighth most played. I'm a little bit dropped down now, but I mean, yeah, all the feedback has been super positive. Um, what's unfortunate is I got a comment from someone who was colorblind, and they said it was painful to play. But I tried to reach out to them again and ask if they had found the colorblind mode and if they had found it useful because I don't really know. It's the first time I've implemented an accessibility feature like that, so I really wanted to get feedback on that mode. But
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where just because you have the accessibility feature in the game, another very important component is making sure that people are actually aware of it.
mhm.
Um, I had the opportunity to participate in the Game Slice event recently with my game Worlds Within Worlds. And it has an accessibility or a whole bunch of accessibility options in the menu of the game. But I needed to actually prompt people to take a look at it. And there's a feedback survey that people can fill out at the end. And a lot of people, a decent number of people were said that they were at least aware of the fact that there's accessibility options, hopefully because they tried to pause the game at some point and realized that there were like some things they could change. But a lot of people will look at the scope of a game like this and just say, "Oh, it's an indie game. It probably has no menu. It doesn't. It probably has no accessibility features." Like they don't necessarily realize that it's there unless you expressly call attention to it.
Mhm.
So yeah, like that's just a really big thing. Is it's all well and good to have the accessibility features, but they aren't doing their job unless you can actually make people realize that's the case. I had some people go through this game and they didn't realize that like, oh, there's this the wrapping nature. They got back to the title screen here and they said, okay, I guess that's the demo. And it's like, no, there's so much more to it. Like these leaves you've been collecting, this tree over here says 3 out of 5 leaves. You got to come back here. So yeah, communication is always a really difficult thing when it comes to like getting players to realize like what is the scope of the project that you have. And it's almost something that I feel like is different when it comes to paid games because no one's ever going to pay for a game and then think it's over in 30 seconds, right?
Yeah,
Um it there I think you still run into issues of people not realizing that there are accessibility options, like if they're buried too deep in various menus. I think the accessibility option in this game, just being right there on the start menu, is totally um, more than sufficient. It's just I don't know. I guess if someone didn't click the settings button, they didn't realize they needed to. Um, I think the one thing you could consider is maybe like right here on the title screen, having that colorblind option
yeah,
just be there from the start, and you can put your, um, you know, game by Corben and Twitter icon like in the top corner. maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think, especially on a game like this where it's all color based, I think that would be a good idea to keep it on the right on the front there.
So quit just like basically crashes the game in browser.
Oh yeah, yeah. I kind of just put it there as more of a like, not that it's ever gonna do anything, but just as a courtesy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And it rounds out the red green, the red yellow green.
Yeah, the stack of three buttons looks nice there. Absolutely. Um, all right. Well, I think we're going to start wrapping things up here, but where can people find you on social media? And do you have any other projects you'd like to plug?
I'm on Twitter at Corben Gilbert. I don't have any projects right now. I'm in early stages of working on um, a third-person adventure game that I'm working on with a team that I'm leading, but that's in really very early stages, and there's nothing out for anyone yet. But you can follow
Oh,
my Twitter if you want any updates
you're
when
going through
those are available.
the game design program at Sheridan.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, that's relatively nearby because I'm here in Toronto. So
Ah.
I actually went to Sheridan for a year of art fundamentals.
Hmm. That's
How are you
awesome.
finding the program?
I think it's really cool, actually. I think I get a lot of really good experience and prepares you for the industry, like especially the AAA side.
Excellent. All right. Well, best of luck with the rest of the program. And if you do have any other projects that you end up completing, please feel free to send them my way.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.